welcome to Natty's Home Cooking, and today we are making French dip with au jus sauce. This is a simple, easy recipe, not much that you really have to do, just to add ingredients, which I add on top of my my chuck roast here, which I have, is I add pepper, salt, sea salt, onion flakes, garlic powder, and I just massage it all into this meat, and then I'll flip it over and do the exact same thing with the same seasonings all over again. Just sea salt, onion flakes, pepper, some salt, and garlic powder. And then I have a pan that has a little bit of olive oil in it to sear the meat on each side. And then what we're going to end up doing after we sear this meat on each side, you want it to make sure you have a golden brown color like this. You want it to look like that, because what it's doing is it's actually searing in those juices into the meat, and it gives a rich flavor for the au jus sauce when you put it in a crock pot, because you're not going to waste anything in this pan. Nothing. Everything is going to be going into the crock pot. We're going to also dice up some onions to add to this real quick before we stick it all into the crock pot, because I like to also sear up my onions and give that flavor into the meat with those onions as well. And then I also do something else as well. I add onion powder, which is the onion soup mix. Place it on top of the chuck roast, and then I'll add a little bit of water on top of it, and then kind of let that all sear in together. So I add about a cup of water altogether for this, and then I'll add another packet of onion soup mix as well, and more water. And the reason why I'm doing this, it gives it such a more rich flavor with all those onions and the onion soup mix, and that kind of like a gravy flavor to it. And just let it sear. I did let it sear and mix all together, which you guys didn't see, but I let it cook all together with those juices for about 20 minutes in this pan. And now I'm just going to let the onions soak into this juice as well for about another 10 minutes. And then what I'm going to do, because it's thickening up right now, and I'm going to place the meat in here, and then I'm going to place all those juices on top of it and let it cook. I'm also going to add a little bit more seasonings to this to give it more rich flavor. I'm going to add Worcestershire sauce. I'm going to add a little bit of liquid smoke, some more onion flakes, and some more garlic powder, a little bit more sea salt, and some more water. So go with what you think. Don't overdo it with too much sea salt, please. Only a little bit. I used probably altogether about 2.5 teaspoons altogether. And in the Worcestershire sauce, I did about 1.5 teaspoons of that. And then for the water, I just make sure to where I could see it's covering that meat, because you want it to be like halfway covering the meat. You want it to cook all together. You don't want it too watery either. So once it's all done, you can tell it just comes just right apart. Look how good this looks. And by the way, when it's cooking in a crock pot, make sure that you come and flip it over so it can cook on the other side as well. Just because you want it to all kind of like cook together evenly. So that's why I flip it in a crock pot. But it just tears apart. It's so tender. I'm also going to do something here. I'm going to take all that fat, I scraped off of it. I'm going to set that to the side, and I'm going to take this meat and I'm going to place it into this garlic olive oil that I'm doing here. It's like a seasoning that I put. I always do it with my French dip. So I just let it cook together, sear together, the minced garlic and the olive oil. Then I'll place my meat into here and let it cook for a little bit. I'd say maybe 10 minutes flat. That's it. And then what I'm going to do is right now what I'm doing is in that crock pot, I'm actually taking those onions, I'm draining those onions out so I can place them in here with the meat. So, because all those onions that we cooked in that crock pot are still left in that crock pot. So we need to take those onions out. So I'm just straining those, but I want to keep the juice. I do not want to dump that juice that's in a crock pot. If you dump it, you don't have your au jus sauce. So it's very, very, very important you keep that juice. So anyway, I'm getting ready to place the onions into this meat, and I'm going to add a little bit of that juice from that crock pot in here with the meat as well. So it kind of works together, marinates together, and gets that rich flavor that we're looking for, because we want the flavor in this meat. We can't have it being dull or no flavor at all. We want flavor. That's very, very important. This step right here that we're doing is very, very important. So make sure you do not skip this step. All right, so let me get the onions here in a second. We're going to add these to the meat. All right, guys, so we're adding in that onion. We're going to add some sauce. And you just want to add a little bit of sauce. You don't want to add all of the sauce from the crock pot. Just enough to give it some moisture and to sear in that garlic that we added. And we're adding a little bit more seasonings to this because I tasted it and it needs a little bit more flavor before I add it onto the bread. So I'm just doing a little bit more, and I'm going to let all this cook in with this meat so that everything tastes wonderful. And I did add a little bit more sea salt because it does dilute it whenever it's cooking in that crock pot. Even though, yeah, we did add it. I also strained the au jus sauce, so I got all that strained and it looks wonderful. And it's ready to go for dipping, so we're going to set that to the side. Now I'm going to work on my Hawaiian rolls. You can use ciabatta bread, you can use Hawaiian rolls. I wanted to do something different and use the Hawaiian rolls. I didn't feel like making bread this time. I just don't feel like doing it. There's times where it's just like you could get tired of making it. So I went ahead and broke down and bought Hawaiian rolls, which is not something I usually do, but I was like, what the heck, why not this time? So anyway, I set it on top of this parchment paper, and this is how I'm going to cook my French French bread sliders. My French dip sliders, sorry. So I do have a little thing that I have here. It's a sauce that goes on top of the bread whenever you cook it in the oven. It's a little bit of butter, garlic powder, and Italian seasoning just mixed together. Make sure you have enough garlic powder in there to really have that good flavor. Okay, and just set that to the side. So what we're going to do, we're going to actually start adding the meat to this bread. And I had to taste that bread. It was really good. It's actually a very good flavor. You always want to try your foods before, giving it to, you're not customers. Oh my gosh, I'm thinking of my job. So sorry. Before you give it to your friends or, your family. Because you need to make sure it tastes good. If it doesn't taste good and you're serving that, they're going to be like, what in the world? You do not know how to cook. So we do not want that. Make sure you taste everything. Now, this cheese, it's very important you use the correct cheese. Me personally, I like the smoked provolone cheese. It gives it a better flavor for your sliders, or for your French dip, sorry. Oh my goodness. Anyway, you want to use the smoked provolone. Some people just use regular provolone. That's fine, but I believe, to me, the smoke gives it so much more flavor. That's why I use it. And provolone is better on the French dips. I have seen some people use mozzarella or just regular shredded cheese. Don't do the shredded cheese. Please try the provolone. I promise you're going to love it. And do the smoked provolone. It just has so much better flavor. Now, what we're going to do, and we're not done with the cheese, by the way. That's just one layer. We're going to add our our beef to this, on top of this. So we're going to start just piling up on top of here. Okay. And then once you get all the meat piled up on top of your cheese here, you're going to add another layer of smoked provolone cheese. Okay, so even with a little bit of the juices, that's fine. You don't want them soaking on top of here, because that's going to make your bread like squishy, and you don't want that. Okay, so just start adding the meat on here, and then we'll add the cheese. Okay. Okay guys, once you get all these added, and we're going to go ahead and add that butter sauce to this on the top here, and we're just going to put it in the oven on 380 to 400 and let it cook for about 10 minutes at the top, and just until it starts melting the cheese really well, which that's all that you need. And then you're ready to serve your sliders, your French dip sliders. These are so good. I don't even know how to describe it. The flavor is just so amazing. It just bursts in your mouth. It's like when you dip that into the au jus sauce. Look at that. Wow. And take that first bite. You can taste everything. You can taste those onions. You can taste the au jus sauce, the smoked flavor into that from that smoked cheese. It's just like, wow, it's so amazing. I served it for my family, and they were gone that fast. They were so good. Anyway, guys, don't forget to like and subscribe. I thank you for watching my video. Stay safe and God bless. I will see you guys soon. Have a great night.